Young Radio. I am Raleigh Culp, here as usual with Mr. Bob Gilpatrick. Bob, how you doing?
Great, Raleigh. How are you today?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing really good, getting ready. It's not cold here, but it's getting chillier, right? It's 61 degrees last night.
Yep.
It was very nice. Florida, not used to that. Everybody's putting on jackets. Not me. I'm from up north, and I love it when it gets. I actually used to be a goalie. So it reminds me of being out on the ice and getting ready for stuff like, oh, I didn't silence my phone. How embarrassing.
Mine is silenced.
Well, Bob, you're better than I. But anyway,
I'm a better silencer.
you're better at being silent, I guess. But anyway, sorry about that. But welcome to the show. We are getting into the holiday season, right? It's definitely apparent around the country. So we had some ideas and some new techniques that we found that we thought would be awesome to share with you during this holiday. It'll help make it a very, very happy holiday season with lots of good times and very little stress. So, Bob, let's get into it. What do we got?
So, just recently, I saw a video, a YouTube video, that was Joe Dispenza's video on a technique that he calls I Create.
Okay.
And short video, 10 or 12 minutes, but really, really great. He's encouraging people to move away from their life kind of being created for them by outside circumstances and their reaction to it, and instead deciding exactly what it is that you already like, that you want to maintain about your life,
right?
And what is your joyful anticipation of the future, and how to make sure that that happens for you.
That sounds like a lot of stuff we talk about wrapped into one.
Yeah.
That's very good.
Yeah. And so he came up with this technique that he encourages people to use the phrase I create.
Okay.
And then he says you have to decide what it is that you want to create.
Okay.
And then each day, say you have 3 or 4 of these. He says each day at approximately the same time, you want to recite them 5 times each.
Okay.
And so it's very effective because the idea is that it's kind of laying down new tracks in your brain.
Okay.
That end up becoming your reality.
All right, so review this real quick. So it's I Create, Joe Dispenza, which we love. He says, find out what you want to create. Then write them down, recite them approximately at the same time every day. Now, it sounds to me like we're creating a good habit here, right? We talk about creating good habits.
Yeah.
So it sounds like
habits of thought.
Right. So it sounds like instead of training the body here, we're training the mind for what it is that we want to manifest, if you will.
Yes, you are. And in a sense, you're also training your body, because if you consider your heart to be part of your body, but not your mind, your heart beat is going to literally change as you do these I creates, especially if you punctuate them with gratitude, which we'll talk about in a minute.
Right.
And you also are going to be changing your body from a reactive mode, which can create stress and excessive cortisol, to a more proactive mode, which is going to create, instead of molecules of stress, molecules of positivity.
Okay.
For example, oxytocin is a neurochemical and also a cardioneurochemical, and it's in your heart muscle and it's in your brain.
Right.
But you can transfer oxytocin from your heart muscle to your brain with specifics, and creating an emotional state with your words and your thoughts that will upregulate the production of oxytocin, which is your molecule of love and compassion and the like.
Yeah, we actually did a podcast on there called The Molecules of Love and Desire. It's actually on boomerboost.com. You guys can check that out if you want to. But what we're talking about really is not just training the mind and the body, but the whole connection because there is this connection between the heart and the brain.
Yeah.
And I think what we're doing here is we're kind of training that connection. Would that be?
You're doing that, and you can do this in general, meaning in general for your life, what it is that you want, but then you can also kind of contain it within a time frame
Right.
that is a holiday season,
Right.
and you can modify your affirmations or your creation intentions for the holiday season.
Gotcha.
Now, why would you want to do that? Because sometimes holiday seasons can be stressful.
Yes.
There's issues related to families that you're going to maybe go and visit, that and there might be a family member that you've always not been able to get along with well. It might be a mother or father, or a child, or a brother, a cousin, an in-law.
Well, one thing that I think a lot of families might deal with this holiday season that they might not have been dealing with as much because of, with COVID and things like that. People who used to be there aren't going to be there. They might have passed along.
Right.
And so this might be some of the first holiday seasons without those people. And sometimes those people were the mediators. They were the ones who kept everybody calm and in a good mood. So, there might be that aspect of, well, they're not here. So there's some sort of chaos in the family. But this is another good way to deal with that as well, I would think.
Yeah. So, for example, if in general you're going to do a creation, you we're doing a live broadcast. You want to be on live?
That's Larry. He wanted to make sure we were doing our live on time.
That's it. He's the taskmaster. So, where were we? We're talking about. So let's give an example. So we're doing the I create.
Yes.
And the you can start with, what types of emotions do you want to feel? Mm-hmm. So one of the ones you could say is, I create inner peace.
Right. Okay. That's a good one for the holiday season.
Create inner peace. It can be general. And then if you're going to modify it for the holiday, you can say, I create a peaceful atmosphere for the holidays. Mm-hmm. Right. Mm-hmm. Another one you might want to say that's an emotion is, I create tranquility.
Right.
I create serenity. And easy to modify those for the holidays.
Right.
But in addition, you can state creation intentions that aren't necessarily emotions, such as, I create prosperity.
Okay.
You can say, I create abundance. Mm-hmm. I create an abundance of blessings. Mm-hmm. I create the blessing of abundance.
Right.
And so you can word these in a way that resonates with you, in a way that really is specifically yours. Mm-hmm. And you can meditate, sit quietly and meditate or pray, and allow things to come to you that you might not have in the front of your mind because of your busy day.
Right.
The restless scanning of your mind might be an obscuration to your realization of what your true desires are. Mm-hmm. And so to quiet your mind, you can use the ultimate mind calming exercise.
Right. Head circles. Yeah. We actually have that on the website as well. It's a technique that we've talked about a lot that kind of gets you into a state of no mind. And sometimes with everything that's going on, you say to yourself, okay, so come up with create statements. Well, I want to create some time to do that, and a lot of the times you don't get the time to focus on it. And when you do, your mind's racing and thinking of other things. So if you use this technique, head circles, it'll actually help to get you into a state of no mind so you can focus on the things that you want to create, the positive things that you want to create. Again, another tool to use to keep the stress level and anxiety down.
Yeah. Yes. Very well said. And as you embark on doing this and you find that time to get started,
Mm-hmm.
what you might find will happen is not only are you spending time reciting your creation intentions, but it starts to kind of bleed over into other parts of your life where you notice you're using those phrases in other aspects of your life. Maybe during the middle of the day, you are at your workspace, and it's your job to create something anew, whether it's an advertising campaign or something else.
Right.
And you can say, okay, so I create inner peace is very positive here because I want to create from a peaceful place, not anxiety. Anxiety will block your memory and will block your creativity.
Mm-hmm.
And so it becomes more of an omnipresent type of energy with specific phrases. And so you want to select them very carefully because they say you get what you focus on, whether you want it or not. So be sure these are your true desires.
Right.
And that they really are going to enhance your life and the lives of people around you. Choose those wisely, and then at about the same time each day, recite them. Right. And recite them 5 times each. I create inner peace. I create tranquility. I create prosperity. I create inner peace. I create tranquility. Why are you doing that? Because the more you do it, the more these become embedded cognitive commitments that will facilitate the manifestation of the desire.
Right. And
I
think the repetition's important. And I think what you had mentioned right before was the gratitude, or the place that it comes from, right? Where
Yes.
these intentions come from, want to come from a place of gratitude, because when you're in gratitude, that heart-brain connection is in alignment that we were talking about a little bit ago.
Right. And so what you can do is, after you've recited your creation intentions, you can give gratitude for them in the way that would work. And this is another teaching of Joe Dispenza. He talks about the use of gratitude, not specifically in this regard, but here today we can merge them together.
Yeah, let's fuse them.
And so you can then, after you're done with your 5 repetitions, you can say, I am so grateful now that I am living with inner peace. I am so grateful now that my life is prosperous.
And tranquil. Tranquil was one.
Yeah. And I am so grateful now I'm living in a state of tranquility. Right. And you can go as far as to repeat those grateful fors 5 times each as well.
Right. Now, and this is kind of confirming your creation statements.
It is, and it's charging them, because when you express gratitude, it changes the brain waves that are occurring in your amygdala specifically, moves from a state of a beta wave more towards a delta wave, and you can punctuate that by simply rubbing your hands together,
right?
Rubbing your arms,
havening.
Right? This is the havening technique, but you can use it with gratitude also, because there's something about rubbing your hands together that alters that brainwave.
I love how all the techniques that we talk about, how kind of you can coordinate with each other and kind of compile on top of each other, because you've got the havening, which we were talking about, which is the power of touch. You've also got the tapping that we talk about all the time. The gratitude, heart math is another one. These are all podcasts we've actually done. So if you guys want to know where those are, go to boomerboost.com, and you can find a podcast on almost every single one of these things we're going over. And to be able to coordinate and incorporate it with the new technique of the I create statements is just another way to get those belief systems recharged, if you will.
Yes. And that focus on gratitude, it changes that brainwave, which changes the neurochemistry. So your brain has two different types of physics going on. One is everyday physics or molecular chemistry, and the other is the aspect of waves. And they're very real. You can measure these waves with neurobiofeedback devices, and you can alter the waves through neurobiofeedback, and you can alter the waves through your affirmations, your statements of gratitude, and with Havening, you can modify that without having to go to a neurobiofeedback center.
Or if you're Deepak Chopra, you could just do it yourself.
Yeah.
But we don't all have that ability.
Well, we do.
Well, we do, but we have to unlock it.
You have to unlock it.
That's true. Go. Sorry.
And so that technique of creating, first, do some of the head circles, the mind calming exercise, with the intention. So state the intention first. So you'll say, with these head circles, I'm going to quiet my mind with the intention of having information manifest in my mind that will help with my I create statements. So set it up ahead of time and do this, and then just say, I create, and just listen. Listen and feel, maybe even see, because with your eyes closed, you can still see things, and a vision might come to you. And so these become statements of affirmation that are coming really from your soul.
Gotcha.
And now you are ready to use the technique to embark upon a transformation or an evolution of your life and your life path and your level of happiness.
So what we're doing here with this is we are using I create statements to help encounter and bring up new beliefs or insert new beliefs, which is important. These can then transfer over to a situation like the holiday season where maybe it might be stressful. You can create your own paradise of your own choosing, as you like to say. And in this case, have a stressful or stress less holiday season. But we were also talking about another technique that can help with, like, say, a specific individual. Say you know that there's someone that you might have an issue with that you're going to be meeting up with for the first time in a year, or maybe 2 or 3 because you haven't been meeting because of, the pandemic or whatever it is. And you want to make sure that doesn't go sour. What's the other technique that you were talking to me about that can help with that specific person?
Yeah, this is a technique that doesn't have an official name. I call it soul scanning. Some people refer to soul scanning as something different, where you're right in proximity physically to another person.
Okay.
And that's a very amazing technique that, taught by hypnotists and spiritual teachers, where you can receive information about another person through their eyes and an energetic connection. Well, it doesn't have to be physical, meaning physically in the third dimensional presence of the person. You can do it at a distance, but you have to use your imagination. And so the technique involves opening up a vision of the person's face. Say this is a person you're going to meet with at Thanksgiving dinner at grandma's house, right? And there's this one person that's always been kind of creating an argument with you.
Okay.
And what you want to do is bring that person's face up. And if you are right-handed, you want to bring that person's face up into the right of your visual field and away about 2 feet or 3 feet away. And you want to wait until you can see that person's face and focus on it. And then look directly into their eyes, right? And you're imagining this person, just their soul essence, and not with any of their human stuff.
Gotcha.
Their neuroses,
their
baggage or argumentative tendencies.
Right.
Instead, you're looking at their pure soul.
Right.
Not very hard to do. Just state that that's what you intend. Okay? So you're looking at their pure soul and look right into their eyes. And don't say anything or communicate anything right at the beginning. Just look into their eyes and notice who they are in their pure soul sense.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Okay.
So, and then there will be information will start to come to you. The person may want to speak to you.
Mm-hmm.
They may want to just send some type of an energy to you. And then this is a good time to put a hand over your own heart and maybe put your other hand out where you're imagining sending positive, loving energy from your heart to that person.
Okay.
And you might want to speak to them. You might want to speak to them with a sense of gratitude. Oh, I'm Joseph. I am so grateful that we are going to have the best holiday season ever together. We're going to reestablish a beautiful connection of love and compassion for each other.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Then again, look into the person's eyes, see if there's a response back. Right? When you feel you've done enough, let it subside, let their face dissipate, give a statement of gratitude. I'm so grateful for this soul scanning technique and that it's going to be the most stress-free holiday season ever. Right? And this sets up a vibration that's in the field that is not limited by space-time.
Mm-hmm.
It's outside the space-time continuum. And we've had many reports from our customers that we've taught this technique to, that after the holidays would communicate with us and say, man, that really worked. And I was shocked how well I got along with my cousin, who just came running up to me and threw their arms around me and hugged me and said, my goodness, it's so great to see you. Haven't seen you in a whole year. We have to start getting together more often. I want to invite you over to my new house. And they're like, just like that.
That's
Okay?
that's
So it's
that's
very
powerful.
real.
Yeah.
It sounds a little woo-woo, but it's very real and very effective.
Well, I was just going to say, the idea. So you were talking about the other concept of soul scanning, where you're within close proximity to the person and you look in their eyes and you speak to them, or you don't speak to them or whatever. You scan them, and this is like that, but kind of from a distance. This is soul scanning from a distance, and if you have the person and you're trying to make a vibrational connection or a connection in the way that we're speaking of by having their face up here and then doing all of this connecting, I would think that, like you said, the field, right, will pick that up. And in order to get something back, you have to put it out. And so this is a really good way of putting out a good vibration with intent. And so that person might not even realize they feel it. Right. And then they see you and they
don't even know
why. Don't even know why.
Right. The other thing that's very important with any technique like this is that concept of gratitude. And it's gratitude with a feeling. How do I feel as if this has already occurred? Mm-hmm. So you imagine then this get together, and you imagine that person coming to you with this sense of love and compassion. And then you sit quietly and you go, how is that going to feel for me?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, I'll be so grateful. I'll feel so relaxed, so relieved, so comfortable, right? Is acting this way. Right? Mm-hmm. This is gratitude as if it's already occurred, and you're focusing on the feeling.
Gotcha.
Why? Because the feeling is the prayer. The feeling is the meditation. Mm-hmm. And the feeling creates an electromagnetic pulse that's going to come off of your brain, and it's going to even more so, 5 times more, come off of your heart muscle.
Right.
It's emitting an electromagnetic pulse, right? And the quality of it changes as you do these exercises, right? And Joe Dispenza always says, the longer you linger in gratitude, the more you draw your new life to you.
Right.
So linger in this state of gratitude, especially the feeling you get from being grateful for this, because that feeling changes that pulse and it acts like a magnet in the field and it draws your new life to you.
Okay.
Without the feeling, there's no magnetism.
Gotcha.
And so using these techniques to create a new you, to create a new life, a new situation, an evolved version of yourself.
Right.
And in a sense, this is approaching the highest vision that you have for yourself.
Yeah. And I mean, what you're talking about here is next level stuff because, you talk about vibrations and things like that, and we all get a sense that they're real. But this is a way that you can actually affect those things
Yes.
and actually see if it works.
Yeah.
So it's a really, really interesting new tool to add to our box as far as stress relief, anxiety relief, and we have a ton of them. Like I said, at boomerboost.com, our different podcasts, you can review all those things. Another one we didn't get to talk about, but it's great during the holidays, is nonviolent communication. We don't need to go into that now, but
No,
check that
Raleigh, but I
podcast
would
out.
just say that if you're going to do soul scanning and I create, and part of what your task is to create a harmonious set of relationships between the holidays, review the nonviolent communication podcast.
Yes.
Because when you arrive at grandma's house, you want to have the tools of NVC right in the forefront of your mind and on the tip of your tongue,
Mm-hmm.
focusing on their feelings, their needs, etc.
Right.
Observing without judgment.
Right.
Right. So
that's the key.
I would review that video. And
Mm-hmm.
this is a very committed, a very active commitment that you're making for your life and for your family to use these techniques.
Mm-hmm.
And people say, I don't have time. Well, you actually don't have time not to. Otherwise, you'll get the same thing you've always gotten, and you'll always dread the holiday dinner at grandma's
Right.
house.
And we don't want to do that.
No, you're creating stress for yourself
Right.
by not making the time.
Exactly.
And so it's, in a sense, it's your fault if you don't do this or some other technique that works for you. This is just one
Right.
set of techniques and not necessarily for everybody, but there is something for everybody.
Correct.
But everybody has to actually do it.
Right. That's true. If you don't use it, you lose it, as they say.
Right.
So use the tools. But yeah, apart from that, there's very good techniques.
Apart from that, it is the second day of November.
Right.
At Boomers Forever Young.
Yes, it is.
And Black Friday has started.
Yes, it has. You read my mind. I was actually going to let everybody know. Let them know, man.
Yeah, but Black Friday.
No.
This is Light Friday.
This is Light Friday.
Right.
The light of creation.
Black. This is Light Friday.
Bright Light Friday.
Because we have products filled with the light of creation.
There you go.
Okay. And starting today, all of our products are buy one, get one half off.
Exactly.
For the holidays, for the next 2-3 weeks at least. At
least till we get to probably December. And the good thing is that if you haven't gotten a chance to try anything, you can actually get a really great deal on some of our starter kits. They're up to 50% off when you buy another one. So if you have you and someone else who's always wanted to try it, now is a great time. But yeah, it'll be up all month. Go to boomerboost.com. I put it up on the website. I put it up on the screen. So if you go there, check it out, see what we have. And even more importantly, check out the podcast section and the self-tips, self-care techniques and head circles that we were talking about. It's all free there. And so you can check that out. Or on our YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube, we have all these on YouTube as well. Just do a quick search for them.
Thanks, Raleigh, and thanks everybody for watching and listening to Live Forever Young Radio Live. We'll see you next time.
Have a good one.